Montana. Tell me, why is the resort more concerned about its reputation than the 40 people who never left their basement? Authorities in the canton of Valais say they are offended by the reporting. They are not alarmed, they are not being transparent, but they are offended. When 40 people die and the response is irritation instead of answers, the problem isn't the incident, it's the mindset. Also, they call this drama. Well, drama is fictional. This is a tragedy. This is a mass casualty event.
Tell him here I come. That girl Rosie, I'm not. I bet that chick gon' come. This ready or not. Tell him here I come. That girl Rosie, I'm not. I bet that chick gon' come. Two bad cops and some bad chicks. What I got up in these pants, you could have this. But if you catch me on a spliff, I don't pass shit. I only gets down, the chick if she a bad bitch. So come push my buttons. I only hit it once, sound call for nothing. You got a glass, every bottle's what it doesn't. Ain't shit to tell your chick I does. Ready or not, tell him here I come. That girl Rosie, I'm not. I bet that chick gon' come.
In today's episode, we're going to talk about safety, or rather than the lack of safety, and why the tragedy in Crown, Montana exposed a tragedy, exposed a system that stopped protecting people a long, long time ago. At what price point did we decide that a premium vibe could replace a fire exit? You know, we move through the world believing that someone, somewhere, who is being paid is in control, that expensive means examined, that luxury means regulated. But Crown Montana shows us something else. Luxury is often just theater. It's smoke and mirrors. And on the 1st of January, the smoke became real. You know, there's a kind of safety contract in our minds. We believe that we are safe. We believe that we are protected. Well, when that safety contract is broken, then we react because we realize that when we thought that people were watching, when we thought that safety inspectors had our back, well, guess what? No one was watching. And in Crown, Montana, no one had been watching for 6 years. Also, let's talk about the fire and the chemistry of the fire. If the chemistry of the fire had been solved 20 years ago, why was it allowed back? Now, if you're wondering what I'm talking about Rhode Island and the Station nightclub, 100 dead. And the cause of the fire? Polyurethane foam. The same stuff in that acoustic material in the ceiling. And do you know what? It's solid gasoline. Solid gasoline. Put a sparkler next to it. What happens? In under 60 seconds, the ceiling becomes a weapon. Now that fire, the footage circled the world. Laws changed. Basically, the warnings were written in blood, right? The blood of the victims. And yet, decades later, the same formula reappears in the Swiss Alps. This wasn't ignorance. This can't happen to us. It just can't happen here in Switzerland. This was not the only fire incident. This was brought to my attention by you wonderful people in the comments. So a huge shout out and a huge thank you to those of you who give me information, give me leads in the comments section. Let's talk about Brazil and KISS. 240 dead. The same foam, the same sparklers, the same pyrotechnics. When are we going to learn? How many more people have to die before we stop using these sparklers? Full disclosure, I was in a lovely restaurant in Chiavenna. They have an amazing waterfall. I love going there. And the waitress arrived at my table with my dessert. It was the panna montana, the cream of the mountains. Oh, decadent, 10 million calories, but worth it, absolutely worth it. And it arrived with a sparkler. I thought it was cute. The next time I go there, I'm not going to think it's cute any longer. Thank you, Cran Montana. But what's great, that's such a strange word to use, but what's important about the story is that it has made us all more vigilant. We're not going to simply outsource our safety to anyone, not even the Swiss, who follow rules and regulations, or so we thought. Let's go back to what happened in Brazil. So same foam, same pyrotechnics, but do you know what happened next? The security blocked the exits to check for unpaid tabs. Yeah, that was more important. Have you paid your bill? Now let's look at Crown Montana. Narrow staircases. Then there was capacity management, or again, when it comes to this situation, a lack of capacity management, because we have reports that Jessica Moretti said, let more people in. We also have a survivor report saying that there were 300 people in the basement, a basement that could only handle 100 people. I believe the total capacity of the bar was 200.
Explain it. What level were you on? And I was where it started, in the basement. I was in the basement right in the middle, and I really had to grab a table. I had my friend in my hands, and she slipped. Unfortunately, today she's gone. So that was tough. But I had to put a table down to hide from the flames. I had to overturn the table. So they overturned the table, hide behind the table, because the flames were starting to drum, and people were trying to get up. There was a crowd, and so I thought I was going to get burned if I tried to push. I waited for the people to get on me. We could see nothing. I was half choking. I grabbed the table and started banging on the window. But they were made of fiberglass, so they wouldn't break. And then I kicked them, and everything fell down. Yeah.
Also in Crown Montana, it seems like their tagline is "We keep people happy." It's in one of the other videos. It's I think I'll tag it at the end of this video, right? But when does keeping people happy outrank an exit plan? When you want to focus on keeping people happy, okay, and that's more important than providing a safe fire exit, well, then the building, the bar, stops being a venue. It becomes a tomb. And that is exactly what happened on the 1st of January. I wonder what would have happened if the fire exit had existed, if the bar had not been filled to capacity. I believe that we would have had casualties, yes, but fewer casualties and maybe less deaths. So let's talk about who signs a renovation permit that turns an escape route into a bottleneck. We have an interview from former manager Eric Dosto, who asked the right questions. Why was the staircase narrowed? Why was the staircase narrowed, because in a fire, a narrowed staircase from 4 meters to 1.4. Take a moment. Just try to imagine what 1.4 looks like. Do you think that you could even get 2 people going up that staircase? 300 trapped in the basement? Okay, so in a fire, that staircase effectively becomes a chimney. When you narrow the exit from 4 to 1.4 meters, you increase the density, you increase the crush of people, right? And then you lower the survival rate. It's simple math. Lower that, narrow that staircase, and you have more casualties. Have you noticed how the numbers never lie? Because survivors report up to 300 people in the basement, legal capacity 200. So we've got a 50% overload. I think it was higher. Then combine that with a narrow exit. That's not negligence. That's inevitability. That's a death trap. You know, what shocked people wasn't just the fire. It was the realization that once the doors closed, no one was protecting them. And when that ceiling ignited, basically, it was game over for everyone, because what happens when that acoustic foam ignited? People became paralyzed, not because of the staircase, but because of the chemistry. But this is not even the end of this. In our next episode, we're going to look at the many ways in which the Morettis scammed the patrons. Was there a scam regarding the COVID funds that they secured? This story is far from over. So, in the next episode, I want to talk about the barman. I want to talk about the Grey Goose vodka and how this ties into the story. And of course, the Moretti Maserati, and how all these things, all of our reporting, paint a picture that the Swiss government definitely doesn't want. I'm pretty sure if they come across my video, they're going to be very offended. Do I look like I give? If you enjoyed my reporting, hit that like button, subscribe, share with a friend. I'm Nas. This is Decoded.